The exclusion of some tourists from countries on the high-risk list is expected to be devastating to tourism revenue. International travel comes at a time when about 3 million jobs have already been lost during the lockdown. So will the lack of the key overseas markets see another jobs bloodbath? It's a disturbing situation. Our reporter Heidi Giokos has been speaking to key people in the sector and joins us now. Heidi, so yesterday you touched on the countries that South Africans can visit for leisure purposes, but the big issue for South African tourism is the key overseas markets that are not allowed in for leisure purposes. This is worrying.
Exactly, Jeremy. Extremely worrying given the fact that the tourism sector employs over 1.5 million people, whether it's directly or indirectly. And given the fact that key overseas markets are not allowed into the country, we're speaking specifically about the UK, we're speaking about certain countries in Europe as well as the US. Those tourists are not allowed in the country for leisure purposes. So this has a massive impact on the tourism sector. Even though international travel is allowed, it's very limited, and an advisor to the Tourism Business Council is saying that it's very concerning given the fact that it is a massive sector. It contributes over 8% to GDP, and it's not functioning to its full capacity due to the restrictions. Let's listen to what she had to say to us earlier.
Unfortunately, there's a very, very long list of 60 restricted countries, many of which are sort of insignificant for tourism to South Africa, but out of our top 5 countries that normally bring us about 1.4, 1.5 million arrivals, 4 countries are high risk. So people can't travel from Netherlands, France, UK and the USA. Only Germany is one of our top 5 countries that they can travel from. And if you look at our top 20 countries, which give us nearly 90% of our total overseas arrivals, there's 12 countries that are high risk, and they're responsible for 66% of that inbound numbers that we get from those top 20 countries. So if you take 66% of the market away from businesses, they can't survive. Businesses are used to having a mix of the Dutch, the French, the Germans, the English, etc., in terms of their foreign inbound tourism. And it's just not enough in terms of leisure opening up from those markets only.
Heidi, very shortly, I'm hoping to be joined by the Chief Executive Officer of the Tourism Business Council, but that particular body is also calling for government to relook at this high-risk list. As you've referred, thousands of jobs are on the line due to the travel restrictions.
Yes, exactly. So according to government, there are 5 departments that have looked at the travel restrictions and international travel resuming, and they have referred to the World Health Organization. There's a criterion, a metric that the World Health Organization has sent out to say that there are certain high-risk countries and low-risk countries, and this is on the basis that government has decided to put certain countries on the list. So the Tourism Business Council is saying that perhaps that needs to be re-looked at, because the minute somebody can provide a negative COVID-19 test, they should be allowed to basically come into the country for leisure purposes or business purposes. And they are saying that when they are in the aircraft, there are very slim chances that they could possibly contract COVID-19 due to having that test, but also because of the air filters and the measures that are taken by the airports, by the airlines, and the measures taken within the aircraft. So they're saying perhaps that needs to be re-looked at due to the massive impact it's having on the industry as a whole, particularly the jobs.
Just quickly, do we know what the chances are of these countries coming off this high-risk list?
Well, according to government, they're saying that this will be re-looked at every 2 weeks, but there is definitely pressure on government to possibly re-look at the list. And, just looking at how airlines have also decided to pull out of landing in South Africa, even though they've resumed that, there was disruptions over the weekend. So there's definitely pressure over that. But according to government, they're saying every 2 weeks the list will be re-looked at, possibly countries taken off or added, depending on the risk factor.
All right, Heidi, listen into the next conversation.